Hey, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Coffee Shop Chat. Miss Controversy. So, as you already know, before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if this is your first time here. If you've been here before and you still haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting on. Just go ahead and subscribe. So, drones. Apparently, we have New Jersey. Actually, outside New Jersey, other countries they're having issues with drones flying over in their airspace, and nobody knows why, or people think they're UFOs. But we're gonna go ahead and watch this video and see what the FBI has to say. But I can tell you a whole lot about them.
Also shocking that we don't know more about these drones. This morning, New Jersey Governor Murphy holding an emergency meeting about the dozens of drones spotted all over the state, including these over my house. That's right in front of my house. Yesterday, lawmakers on Capitol Hill grilling the FBI for answers.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
I got an article right here, mystery drone spotted over New York, New Jersey, prompt calls for federal investigation. What can you tell us about what you guys do know? We do not know the particular specifics of what those drones are.
Is there still a possibility of there being a threat? At the end of the day, that's what my constituents want to know.
I've just mentioned it concerns me that we don't know the answer to
Yes.
your question yet.
Wow, that's shocking. Our next guest, who led that hearing, warns we still have no way of stopping enemies like China from using drones to spy on us. GOP Congressman Carlos Jimenez joins us now. Congressman, so first of all, this affects me directly. I live there. I've seen the drones in front of my house multiple times. I've been able to record it at least once. So they're saying they either belong to the U.S. government or they don't. And if our military or FBI doesn't know that, that's a problem, right?
Yeah, it is a huge problem, and we as a nation are woefully unprepared for the challenges and the threats that these drones and other drones may pose to our facilities, but also to American citizens.
Who specifically, which agency head would you say is most responsible for knowing this? Who should know this? Who should be on top of this and giving us information?
It should be Alejandro Mayorkas. This is a threat to the homeland. And so both him and also the Department of Defense, if these drones are buzzing around sensitive areas. And so those two are the ones that are mainly responsible. And that's part of the problem, too, is that we have agencies all over the place that have some money allocated to drone defense. It really should be focused so that we understand this threat. By the way, this threat's just going to get worse and worse as these drones become more and more capable as AI is implemented and put into them.
Yet you can't, on the one hand, say there's no threat, but we don't know what it is. I mean, because if you don't know what it is, you can't really tell me there's no threat. So what has Alejandro Mayorkas said on this, and why hasn't he been pressed more on it?
We should press more. Look, yesterday was one of the first hearings we had on the drone threat. I've been, even way back when I was mayor of Miami-Dade County, I was very worried about drones and the threat that they pose to our airports and our port facilities, even on a local level. And so, yeah, we as a nation need to start focusing in on this threat. And we as a nation need to, if we in Congress have to make some laws that allows, the agencies to take more appropriate action, we need to do that. But also our capabilities, we don't have the capabilities that we need to deal with them today, much less the drones of the future, which are going to be more capable.
Are you worried citizens are going to take this into their own hands?
Yeah, somewhat, but I also worried that we are not paying, the federal government, is not paying enough attention to how we can deal with the threat that drones pose, not only just from surveillance, but also as an offensive weapon. Look what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and what they're doing with drones.
Yeah.
It poses a very serious threat.
Yeah, the cartels are using them as well on our southern border, and we're having trouble wrapping our arms around that as well. Congressman Jimenez, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
So the problem, okay, I'll put it this way. We wouldn't have this problem had back in 2016. I was stationed at Fort Gordon. I was the electronic warfare integration officer. Basically, I was writing capability documents to develop electronic warfare equipment that would actually stop this issue that they're having. But instead, they wanted to use the money. General Milley at that time was the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. They divert the money to other things. We are so far behind, it's ridiculous. Anybody think they can already, I'm telling you, when they come to EW, there's not that cyber ain't shit you can tell me, because that's what I did in the Army. You have different, when they say in your different classifications, and I'm gonna show you. This is what's considered, this is what we call SUAS. It's a small unmanned aerial system. That's it. It's just a small version. So those little lights you see, they actually can turn them off if they want to. And I'm gonna just show you. And so you get a better understanding of what they're seeing. So basically, they can actually develop systems, and the thing that's going to be hard is this works on 2.4 gigahertz. Well, mine's is actually 2.5 because I manipulated the frequency range in which it operates in. But normally they operate on 2.4 gigahertz, which means you can use systems to detect it or break the link between the controller and the actual aircraft. Once you sever that link, those systems, all those UAS systems fly around, once they lose that link, they will fly back to wherever they came from. Wherever they took off from, that's where they will return to. Now, the problem that I'm kind of baffled is I know for a fact that we have a counter UAS cell, and they're actually advisors that work in the Pentagon. Right. Well, how do you know that? Well, because that was one of the jobs I could have had, but I chose to go to Army Cyber instead of going to the Pentagon. Because the Pentagon, you pretty much like a private, and I was a major at that time, and I am not gonna be making coffee and getting donuts for people, because you got 1-star generals that currently do that. But anyway, you can actually, like I said, sever the link. But those drones that they see flying around that's doing all stuff and people think they're UFOs, they're not. They're programmed and they're being controlled by AI, because the movements that they're making, a normal person cannot do from a controller. Especially when once you get that far away and you don't have like a line of sight, you're pretty much looking at a screen. So a lot of the movements that those drones are doing, a person can't do that. They're pre-programmed, they take off, and they actually can set the pattern of which they want them to fly, where they want them to fly. What now, as far as turning off lights and all that stuff, they can do that for themselves. From my controller, I can actually shut my lights off of my drone if I don't want nobody to see me. And I can just fly in the dark. And I actually have a tablet, which is in the case, that I can still see lights and everything because I actually have a camera system on there. So if they really wanted to do something, they could. Small, and those are larger aircraft, so you can't use something like a drone defender, which is more like something that we actually use was like a little gun. It transmits enough power to sever the link between the actual aircraft and the actual controller. That's the only real thing to do. But outside of shooting them down, but then you have stuff where uh things falling on people, so now you're looking at damage that way. You can't you don't really want to jam the systems, because we do have things that can jam the frequency to sever the ties. But the problem that you're going to have is because of where those particular systems operate in the space, you're going to have what we call frequency fratricide, meaning everybody in that bubble on the ground. That means your cell phones, your Wi-Fi, all that stuff you're going to lose it during that moment of time. So they playing bullshit games. I'm gonna just tell you, if they really want to do something about these drones, they can. So I'm not. I'm thinking they're just letting it go on. Just shows like, hey, we need more money for the army so we can develop capabilities, whether it's air things put on certain type of aircrafts or from the ground. Literally, you actually can use a ground system that has enough power and actually focus on it, turn it on, which is radiating power, and it severs, like I said, it severs the link between that aircraft and that wherever that actual CP is, and that aircraft would do RTD, which is mean it just returns to its destination wherever it took off from. It's programmed to go back there. So I don't understand why they won't do that. And then we have plenty of Black Hawks or Apaches that can actually, because they're not going to fly one of those. They can actually use ones to tell them to see where they going to land, where they go, and where they land in that. Because if you look at, they're not coming in from China. It's somebody in the U.S. that's flying them, or very close. Because even a gray eagle, yes, they have a long loiter time, which means they can fly in this area for a long period of time, but it's a distance thing. You still have to have that distance. Well, in even hours, we lose linkage, and it's just basic power lines actually cause that problem. Where actually has severed the link where that aircraft had to fly back until it reestablishes communications with the node, and then they can take control and fly and do what they want to do. And most times, you would just reroute a different way to get around wherever that interference was at. So I know there's a cell, like I said, in the Pentagon that focuses on counter UAS. I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. Hey, if you want, I have no problem, but you're gonna have to pay me a lot. I have no problem coming back to tell you what you could do. I'll come back and even write capability documents for them if they need to. But hey, that's all I got, fam. Let me know what you think about this drone stuff. I want to know, have you seen any in your area? I know if I see some around here, I know what I'm going to do, so I can see exactly what they are. I'm not going to say what I'm gonna do, but I know what I'm going to do, and it's not I'm not shooting them down because you actually can go to jail for that. But it's things you can do to kind of find out exactly what it is. You can get close to picture. So for those of you who have drones, whether you have the Yukon, the Unic, or you have Mavericks, don't fly up that high. I know these actually go pretty high. Um, Mine's could go out to about 3 miles before it, uh, camera wise, will go out, but it still fly, and then it would actually come back until it reconnects with my controller. But this is kind of weird. And like I said, I'd like to hear what you guys say. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you think about this whole ordeal. And hey, that's all I got. I'll see you around.